What up, Claytriots? It is your boy, technically Clay, back for another stream. I just realized I do not have my content set up. 1 second. Boom. Now you can see it. Okay. Um, so I am streaming to you from St. Louis, Missouri on this Sunday, March 29th. It is a chilly day outside for us today, and today is also a day that I'm going out canvassing for Cory Bush. So I am, for once, wearing real clothes. Look at me. Look at me, people. I'm wearing stuff that I would wear if I went out instead of if I was only in streaming. I have a Hassan merch shirt on. I got some nice khaki colored uh, Levi's jeans on. You guys don't get to see me like this that often, so I figured I would have to show it off, dressing like an actual person who goes outside instead of somebody who sits at their computer screen for 10 hours a day like I usually do. So, but anyway, that's what's going on with me right now. Since the last time you saw me, let's see, played some more video games. I mean, for those unaware, that's like probably like my main hobby. Let's see, more World of Warcraft, a little bit more Pokemon. We had our last session of our one-shot campaign that my wife was DMing with a few friends, so they came over. We had, some snacks. We ended up defeating the Thessal Hydra. For those unaware, it was a campaign modeled after the first campaign in Stranger Things. My wife is obsessed with Stranger Things, and this was her first time DMing, so she chose a campaign that was kind of modeled after that first one from the first season of Stranger Things. Um, so we even fought a Demigorgon in it, but unfortunately that does mean the era of Kala, the 3 foot tall drug addicted gnome with a weird obsession with tentacles is no more, unfortunately. Because I'm planning on doing a new character for our next campaign. Our next one's going to be a longer one too. But maybe I'll share that with you guys once I figure out what I want that character to be. And then other than that, slept and now I'm here for an early morning stream. Today's stream is going to be I don't want to say super planned or anything. I'm going to go over some very quick Iran news. My prediction of this weekend being the weekend that we put boots on the ground did not come true, thank goodness. So we all get to live one more week, everybody, because God knows we are not allowed to go to war when the markets are open. It will be on a Friday or Saturday if we are going to go to war. I mean, I'm assuming that he's not going to do it today. So I think we got one week, we get to live one more week before, you know, before we go full occupation mode on Iran. But yeah, we're gonna start with some Iran content, and then I definitely want to check out some of the unhinged shit from CPAC because I'm sure that'll be hilarious. So let's go ahead and go over to here.
We've been reporting Yemen's Houthis.
We're about to get content pilled. We're going to watch some videos. So we're going to start with the Houthis. The Houthis have joined the fight. They are in, everybody. A new fighter has arrived, and it is the Houthis. You've seen them before, but yeah, so they've started launching some strikes on Israel. They haven't done anything, as far as I'm aware, in the Red Sea yet. I think Iran is still kind of telling them to hold off on that until, until they need another escalation. So I don't necessarily think that's going to happen until there's some sort of like another major escalation by America or Israel. But yeah, let's go and watch this video from Al Jazeera. This is Al Jazeera. Yemen's Houthis launch second missile drone assault on Israel as war with Iran intensifies.
Houthis have joined the conflict in the Middle East. Well, the group says it launched a second attack on Israel and that it'll launch many more strikes in the coming days.
وردا على جرائم العدو In response to the enemy's crimes on our people and our countries, and in support of the freedom of the people, will continue, with the grace of God, to carry out military operations in the coming days until the enemy stops its hostilities and aggressions.
Yusuf Mauri is live for us in the Yemeni capital, Sana'a. And Yusuf, are we now starting to see the Houthis widen the types of weapons, munitions used when you look at their second strike?
Yes, and this is why they also launched the drones, the Samad drones that they have used previously. These are drones that fly at a very low altitude and are able to bypass Israeli air defense system, as we have seen in the past. But now we have even warning from United Kingdom maritime agencies warning that the Ansar Allah Houthis could be on the verge of targeting ships in the Red Sea, in the Gulf of Aden, and in the Arabian Sea. In fact, the United Kingdom maritime.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they are. Like, I'm sure they're prepared for that. I truly think they're waiting for some sort of either the boots on the ground operation or full targeting of Iran's energy infrastructure, or like some some clear escalation to do that is my assumption.
Agency is calling on all vessels to not go
Hell
anywhere
yeah.
near
Love it, love it.
Yemen's coastal line off the port of Hodeidah, Aden,
So
and
many microphones.
also in other various parts in the south of the country. The Ansar
Yeah, I see the Palestinian flag.
Houthis are not just targeting, they're not going to be just targeting ships in the Red Sea, they're also going to be targeting ships in the Arabian Sea and even also the Indian Ocean, as we've seen them target ships before, mainly US and Israeli flagged vessels. So that's the main concern right now. And I think with this new alert and notification from these United Kingdom maritime agencies, I think that they are suspecting that the next attack could potentially be an attack on an Israeli flagged vessel or perhaps even a US flagged vessel somewhere in the Red Sea. What's very clear is that many experts believe their next escalation, the Houthis' next escalation is not only just going to be targeting the Israeli military targets, but also targeting Israeli vessels and US ships attempting to cross.
Duh. Like, yeah, no shit. That's like their whole big point of leverage. That's what they like. I don't under that. That's something that everybody should have assumed would happen at some point. That I don't think you really need intelligence or whatever to understand that that's what's gonna happen.
Bab al-Mandab.
And Yusuf, how do people you've been speaking to feel about Yemen entering this conflict?
Well, people I spoke with, they tell me that they suspect that Israel is eventually going to respond. It's only a matter of when. They
Okay, Israel. See, this is where I'm like, I don't, man. I mean, I'm sure that they will, but it's like Israel is currently sending, fighter jets like 1,000 miles or like however far away to Iran on like, like multi-refueling effort flights to Iran on like a daily basis. They've sent their entire, army basically into Lebanon, and they're also carpet bombing Lebanon. And so then I guess they're also going to be carpet bombing. Like at some point they have to like at some point they have to be drawing efforts away from their other fronts if they're going to keep, invading like let's say 10 more countries or 20 more countries or 30 more countries, right? Like however many more countries until they're tired of invading literally every country on the planet. Like at some point they are going to be stretched too thin and not be very effective. Like drawing away effect from like the other countries that they're also trying to bomb. So they're not that big of a country, dude. Like they're only 9 million people, and obviously they need America to even prop up their current existence and their current military efforts. Like, um, so I don't know. I just don't like. I guess I'm just saying. I feel like they're already stretched thin. I don't know how many more fronts that are opened against them they can deal with, quote unquote.
They tell me they're used to airstrikes. They're used to years and years of war in Yemen.
They are.
Something, though, they can never get used to is not having access or having limited access to basic necessities such as fuel, such as diesel, such as goods, basic necessities. And those basic necessities could be compromised if Israel decides to target the port of Hodeidah and the port of Salif. As you know, 80% of imported goods, they enter Yemen through the port of Hodeidah. The port of Hodeidah has been closed previously by Israeli airstrikes and even by tightening of sanctions by the US. If the port of Hodeidah is rendered closed, or the port of Salif or Ras Al Isa, if they are attacked and they're not able to function, millions of Yemenis could be on the brink of another humanitarian catastrophe, another humanitarian crisis. As you know,
Well, I'm okay. The fact that you're saying that is means I'm sure that they will. Like, I'm sure that they will. Israel is like they love creating.
Und joining me on
Whoops,
the set is Nitsan.
sorry
We've
about
been
that.
reporting.
They love creating manufactured humanitarian crises and killing as many civilians as possible. So the fact that you're saying that means I'm sure that's what they will do. But I also think it sounds to me like this is a little bit of like, uh, like a lot of people always sort of, I guess, how do I want to say this? Um, I think overemphasize any individual action or individual thing as going to turn the tide or whatever. Like the Yemeni people are incredibly resilient, as seen in their perseverance through the genocide committed by Saudi Arabia on behalf of America and Israel against their people. And the Houthis in particular have proven, much, much stronger than anybody could have ever expected. So, uh, I don't know. I think that a lot of this seems a little bit like Western sort of thinking of like they're going to collapse immediately if we take out this port or whatever. Um, and again, like we already saw that sort of same thing in Iran where they thought, oh, Iran is going to topple over as soon as we just take out their leadership or like impose some sort of like minor hardship against the Iranian people. And that just didn't happen. So I also don't necessarily think that that would change that much, even if they did, cause a humanitarian crisis, which I'm sure they will do.
by the US. If the port of Hodeidah is rendered closed, or the port of Salif or Ras Al Isa, if they are attacked and they're not able to function, millions of Yemenis could be on the brink of another humanitarian catastrophe, another humanitarian crisis. As you know, because in previous wars, when the port of Hodeidah was closed, it led to over 80 children starving to death. So the biggest concern is not
Yeah.
just the airstrikes that could threaten the lives of Yemenis. Of course, you know, thousands.
Yeah, it'll be very sad. It'll be very sad, and Israel is a barbaric people for doing things like this. However, like I said, they are resilient people, and they will survive. But it will be obviously, at great cost and at great suffering, struggle.
And hundreds and thousands of Yemenis were killed in the previous rounds of Israeli and U.S. airstrikes. However, tens of thousands in Yemen have died because of starvation and having limited access to basic foods and basic necessities. As you know, if there's no gas.
Okay. Yeah, this seems sort of like Al Jazeera is a Qatari, I think, owned media conglomerate, and so I don't know. I think that they're also to some extent, while they are like less biased than a lot of news sources in that they give like some positive coverage to uh like at the very least like the Palestinians and stuff. Um, they I think they do tend to be a little bit anti the resistance groups like anti-Hamas or anti-Hezbollah or anti like even anti-Iran to an extent. So yeah. But anyway, okay. Let's watch another quick one about the Iran war, and then we'll go over to get our daily dose of unhinged hogs in at CPAC. But so we're gonna do this video. Apparently, there's some anti-war protests in Israel. Hundreds gather in Tel Aviv, France. This is by France 24 English. Um, don't get your hopes up, people. The Israeli populace is very much on board for this war. I think that they are willing to suffer uh, significantly for their racist Zionist Nazi beliefs. Like when you are as like zealot like as the Israeli people, um, yeah, you're willing to sacrifice everything for like being able to kill brown people. Like you would like sacrifice your own son. Like you would literally slit your own son's throat if it meant you could kill more brown people. Like that's kind of the general mentality of the average Israeli. And so when when you see things like this, these people out here protesting, which it is commendable because it's obviously the government is trying to tamp down any sort of anti-war movements or whatever. It is commendable, but it is only hundreds of people and not indicative of the greater populace. But let's see what some of these anti-war protesters have to say. We'll also see how they message about it because a lot of times they come from like not necessarily human rights perspective, but like usually kind of more of like a we don't want to die perspective. But let's see.
Lima Square, the placards of these protesters share the same message: stop the war with Iran. Several hundred gathered in the center of Tel Aviv to protest the conflict on Saturday.
We are 4 weeks into the war. That nobody actually know what is the aim of the war because
you and me both, brother.
In the beginning they said we are against the missiles, against the nuclear, maybe to take down the regime in Iran, but after 2 weeks everybody understood that it's not going to happen.
These demonstrators hold Benjamin Netanyahu responsible for the war.
Oh, sorry, I gotta go back and look at that. That's a funny one. Is he like a baby? Benjamin Netanyahu is a baby? And then Trump's going, maybe yes, maybe no. Wow.
These demonstrators hold Benjamin Netanyahu responsible for the war.
Obviously, I believe that this war is part of Bibi's game plan. I don't particularly fear the Iranians, and I think that he's led the world, or at least the Americans, into a very dangerous situation.
The Israeli authorities consider this demonstration illegal,
of course,
as under wartime security guidelines.
Freedom of speech, right, people? Liberal democracy, right, people? Isn't this the only democracy in the Middle East? Yeah.
Gatherings of more than
same with us, right? When our cops go out there and brutalize our protesters for being anti-war or whatever. Yeah, this is classic. Double think of Westerners to think that we have like a true, liberal democracy and free speech and all that.
50 people are prohibited. Security forces dispersed protesters in Tel Aviv, sometimes forcefully. Authorities say 13 people were arrested. Although small protests have been held weekly across the country since the 28th of February, Israeli public opinion remains overwhelmingly in support of the war. According to the Israeli Democracy Institute, only 11% of the population opposes it.
Oh, how much? Sorry, I was looking
Institute. Only 11% of the population opposes it.
Yeah, see, it's gonna stay like that for a while. Now, maybe once they start running it out of interceptors, once they start running out of interceptors and they're getting hit, let's say 10, 20 missiles a day or something, right?
We've been reporting Yemen's.
Sorry. I keep clicking this side button on my mouse and accidentally going back, but yeah, maybe once they start getting 10 or 20 missiles hitting their buildings a day or whatever, and they you start getting hundreds if not thousands of deaths, then they might change their tune a little bit, especially if they don't see any strategic outcome. It's just kind of crazy to me because I feel like they legitimately in Israel think that they had a strategic victory or something against like Hamas, uh like Hamas or like in Gaza, like they think that they won in some way, or same with Hezbollah, like for some reason they think that they like won and they're like really high on their own like messianic supply, if you know what I'm saying. And I just think that they're really I think they're really missing, like, what's the phrase? Uh missing the forest for the trees or whatever. Like they're seeing their like individual successful tactical operations, but they're never seeing the big picture of like the direction that their country is going in terms of like both political and like military outcomes is like getting worse and worse by the day. So it's very interesting to me to watch that sort of disconnect. And I do think that eventually it'll probably just collapse in on itself like a dying star, but I don't know. It might be a while still.
The port of the war. According to the Israeli
Because it already would have if America didn't give them unlimited money to support their apartheid, but yeah.
Democracy Institute, only 11% of the population opposes it. The protest organizers say demonstrations will continue in the coming days.
Oh, hell yeah. Let's get to that real shit. Sorry, that was funny. Yeah, okay, so just real quick outro on that last video. Yeah, I think that there's never going to be an anti-war, like a true like anti-war movement that will have any effect in Israel. I don't think. The nation state of Israel is based on a fascist Nazi ideology of Zionism, right? So it will only become more and more like insane and contradictory, like self-contradictory, and even as it's like losing, it's going to keep pushing, right? Like even, for instance, like even as the Nazis were like, were like politically and like militarily starting to lose, that didn't stop them from like continuing to try to expand their territory all over the place, right? Um, so like I think that, and it's what it eventually led to its like downfall, So I think that we'll see the same thing, like the Nazis of yesterday, the Nazis of today will eventually overplay and overextend their hand, and will eventually fall. But yeah, anyway, guys, let's get to the fun stuff now. Let's watch some fun stuff. Let's go to CPAC, baby. Hell yeah!
Thank you, thank you.
Sorry, I had to play the music. Okay, yeah, we're gonna watch this video. This is by Right Side Broadcasting Network. 2 million subscribers. I've never heard of this place. Gee, I'm gonna need you to move that tail. Okay. So the first one we're gonna watch here is Nick Shirley. Okay, people. I I don't want to. I'm going to be making fun of him. Okay. I know that might be a little bit ableist of me. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm going to. He's a terrible person. He is a terrible person. So I am going to be making fun of him. So if you don't like that stuff, um, if you think I am being ableist or whatever, you don't have to watch this video. This isn't the one for you. Okay. So we're gonna watch Nick Shitley, independent journalist, Nick Shitley address CPAC with some rockin' butt rock as his walk-up music. So let's go, everybody.
Thank you, thank you. I'm super excited to be here and to be able to speak to you guys today. And I'm not here to speak on behalf of Republicans nor Democrats. I'm here to speak on behalf of we the people. I think nowadays we can all agree that we all just want to live the American dream and have the best life possible.
Okay. Okay. Do you see what I'm saying now? I'm going to be making fun of him, people. So, like I said, if that's not your thing, you don't have to watch this video,
However,
okay?
it feels that sometimes Actually, a lot of times, non-controversial issues are becoming controversial inside of America.
Oh yeah, what are
For instance,
those?
if you take a look at the idea of deporting illegal migrants. That word is illegal. That should not be controversial.
I'm sorry, it is. Like, I'm sorry. That's the again, your definition of illegal. You use the word illegal, but it's like that's a loaded word because most Americans do not want you to be deporting illegal migrants if they haven't done anything fucking wrong. Like, if they haven't done any crimes, if they are just, I don't know, like a construction worker or whatever, right? Like, most people in the average position of Americans is that they don't want those people to be deported. And in fact, they want a pathway to citizenship for nonviolent, quote unquote, illegal immigrants. So I'm sorry to say that, like, I guess in a sense it isn't controversial because everybody has the exact fucking opposite opinion of you guys. But okay.
Or the idea that showing your ID to vote has become controversial. That's not.
Yeah, because it's disenfranchising. It's not. Voting ID is not a controversial thing in and of itself, right? Many countries, including I think the UK, have voter ID laws. However, as a part of that voter ID law, they are required to send out an ID to every single person who can vote, right? Every single person who is allowed to vote is like they automatically send out an ID to those people to make the process as easy as possible. If in America you did that, then most people would have no problem with it. I mean personally I also I guess wouldn't have that much of a problem with that. But the problem is we know that's not how it's going to work. We know that's not what's going to happen. We know what you're going to do is make it as hard as possible to vote, disproportionately making it harder for working class and poor people to vote, and especially black and brown people to vote. That's how it's going to actually be implemented. And that is why it's controversial. These people, they don't get it. They don't get it.
Controversial either.
Although I get why they don't get it.
The idea that
Listen to him
fraud
talk.
is bad has become controversial. How is that controversial? I know a little.
Fraud is bad. Oh, God. Okay, I'm sorry. I know that I'm pausing this so fucking much, but he says a stupid thing every fucking 5 seconds. Fraud is bad, okay? But you only focus on one particular type of fraud. You focus on like racist agitprop fraud. Anytime you can find a black or brown poor person who is engaging in fraud, those are the only types of fraud that you go after. And a lot of times you're not even really finding that. You're just kind of like you're just kind of going up to a random like place and being show me the children or whatever, you know. Like that's not real journalism. But regardless, let's say it was actual fraud. There's so much other fraud that you can be going after that would give you so much bang for your buck. Most billionaires don't pay fucking taxes. That's a significantly more like large portion of money that you could get, of fraud that you could get. Most contractors that work with the government, like big major corporations that have contracts with the government, such as like SpaceX and shit, just literally just skim fucking money off the top of it and like pocket it into their into their CEOs and whatever's like pockets. Like that is so much more fraud. The problem that I have with the fraud that you go after is you go after the most minimal non-important fraud that exists. Like the fraud that is so minute compared to like the vast swaths of billionaire and like rich people fraud that exist, that it's like like why are you going after them? And I know the reason why you're going after them is because you're trying to do racist agitprop, so and get views for your stupid fucking YouTube channel. But okay, sorry, I'll try and not pause it after every individual thing he says going forward.
A little bit about fraud. I know a little bit about Minnesota daycares as well. And it's crazy to think that we live in a world where somebody who exposes fraud can then be painted as the bad man from the politicians where he exposed the fraud. Shouldn't they be excited to know that the fraud is being exposed, because that's not a Republican dollar or a Democrat dollar, it's actually our dollars, I've never gotten a dollar bill that says right or red or blue or right or left.
Well, it's about to say Donald Trump on it, everybody, so get ready for that one. That'll be hilarious. All of our dollar bills are about to have Donald Trump on it. But I already explained exactly why it's like annoying that you do this. I don't care if you find actual fraud, which I don't think you really have yet, but if you find actual fraud, cool, good. That should be stopped. Um, but like I said, there's way bigger fish to fry when it comes to fraud than these like, Somali daycares or whatever. And you should, and it's just so obvious that you're just doing racist agitprop. Like, so okay.
We all live inside of the same country, and we should all want the best for our country. And when you see
Some of us do.
fraud inside of our country taking place at literally rampant levels. For instance, in Minnesota, there were programs like autism where you have 10,000% increases in the budget for autism. And this money then goes into the hands of fraudsters.
Well, have we checked to see how much Tylenol they were taking? Doesn't Tylenol cause autism now? I can't remember. I don't keep up with my right-wing like quackery, like doctor quackery that much, so I can't remember what causes autism now, but I think it's Tylenol now.
How does somebody not look at that and say, there's a 10,000% increase in the budget for autism? Is there a 10,000% increase in autistic children inside of our neighborhoods? And if the answer is no, how are they justifying a 10,000% increase
Yikes, dude.
in the budget?
Yikes.
And in other instances, like
Guys, I'm trying so hard to only focus on what he's actually saying right now, but like, okay, I'm just gonna keep going, but
California, where you
it's
have
just this is
1,000%
weird. This
increase
is
in
a weird
hospices.
person to put up on
Is everyone
stage.
going to die in LA? I don't think so. So the idea that here inside the United States, when we have these non-controversial issues that have become controversial, it puts us into a weird culture war where it puts people into a position to think, okay, well, wait, how are you supporting this when you're actually not benefiting we the people? We all live inside of the United States. We're not supposed to be, when elected officials elected, they're not supposed to represent 50% of the population. They're supposed to represent 100% of the population. In an instance where fraud is taking place inside our country, each and every single person should want to crack down on that fraud. Because if we don't,
This is just this is classic like right-wing framing. Like, do you think they would ever say that about like any sort of like vaguely left-wing positions? Like, I don't know, like let's say caring about trans people's mental health or something, right? Like, uh, that's not a left wing. That shouldn't be a left wing or a right thing wing position. Like it's like a child's mental health. We should care about it. Um, but somehow it just keeps becoming divisive. Why don't we all just want people to be happy and healthy or whatever? Like I don't know. I think that they just do that sort of framing. They try to frame everything as common sense, even if it's the least common sense like thing or whatever that has ever existed. And maybe I should start doing that too. Maybe I should put the word apolitical in my like YouTube description, my YouTube channel description, so that I can, start pretending like I think that like all of my positions are completely normal and neutral, I guess, or whatever. I think mine are
these
more
people
normal
can
than theirs
continue
are.
just to literally steal our dollars, and they steal our dollars, and then they send it overseas, and once it's overseas, we can't ever get that money back. And that's something that I've learned as I've gone about exposing this fraud. And a lot of times, these people that are taking our tax dollars are foreigners who are not even from the United States of America, and they're stealing our money. And it's just been so
Okay.
crazy to see how
Wait, what? Like, so because they're sending money abroad, that's like a problem. Like, don't like, isn't the whole thing like billionaires have like tax havens in like various other countries that they send all of their money abroad to? Is that not also stealing from this person's perspective? Why do you only care when it's like a brown working class person and you don't care when it's like a billionaire? This is the problem that I have with his like, conception of fraud. If he's even capable of like conceiving this instead of just like, I don't know, chasing whatever like dopamine rush or like pretty colors that he sees or whatever, like in terms of like his content. Like I just don't understand. He doesn't seem capable of seeing like how this applies to other situations besides just brown people of working class background.
In all 50 states, there is fraud. However, it seems to be that most of the fraud is in a lot of these blue cities. And when you go out and expose the fraud,
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
I think Gavin Newsom, he posted.
No. Are you kidding me? Most of the fraud is in blue cities. Are you kidding me? I mean, yeah, maybe like by number because like there's a lot more population in blue cities, but I'm pretty sure disproportionately like wealth fraud like or like fraudulent programs usually happen much more in like smaller like rural areas is like it was my understanding, um but I mean maybe I'm wrong on that. I'll try and look it up while I let this bozo keep talking.
Posted a photo of me the other day and had 10 cameras on me, an AI generated image saying where are the kids, trying to depict me as a pervert for exposing fraud. How sick does a governor have to be to say that the kid exposing the fraud is the bad person versus the fraudsters that are stealing the money?
Okay, you all be the judge. You're listening to him right now. You're listening to him talk. Would you, if he came up to you and at your house and said, "Can I see your children?" Would you let him in? Like you can all tell me. Like you can all tell me if you think you would do that.
And going through this experience of exposing this fraud, I finally came to understand why, for instance, why they attack Elon Musk so hard, why they burn down his factories, or why they burn down his cars, or why they attack him so much when he was simply exposing fraud to help every single citizen. Well, it just happens to be that these politicians don't want the fraud to be exposed because they're involved in the fraud.
Is he talking about Doge? Like, is he saying, dude, you do understand that Doge ended up costing the American taxpayer more money than it saved, right? Like, the amount of like damage that it did to the American to the just general government programs that we have costed the American taxpayer more money. Like, he literally did the exact opposite of what his job was. They're having a hard time clapping for him. I would too.
Nowadays, since I've posted that video, my life has changed. It changed a little bit. I'm speaking here in front of all you guys, so thank you. But my life's changed a little bit because the idea that a governor, for instance, Gavin Newsom, can go ahead and post that photo, and everyone knows that I'm not the bad man for exposing the fraud, but a small group will then think, wow, that kid is a bad person. He is what they're trying to depict me to be. That now I have to walk around with security when I go to cities, or people will try to literally...
Hey, I said before, I think he has the mentality of an 8-year-old, so I don't necessarily know if it would be considered pedophilia. I'm sorry.
Last time I was in California, I was just there the other day. I couldn't stay at a hotel because last time I was in California, after I'd posted that fraud video, somebody tried to take a photo and put it into a Reddit group chat, and a group of people were looking for me because I exposed the fraud. Like, that's crazy to think that we live in a society nowadays where somebody going to do a big public service for the country...
Oh, sorry, this is another one. If you guys remember, if you want to know like just an example of like fraud usage or whatever, like do you guys remember COVID and like all of the fraud from all of the various like businesses and corporations who just like scammed like tons of money from the government? Like that was all like, small businesses and like and larger corporations and stuff who were just like stealing tons and tons of money from the government. But then, yeah, nobody gave a shit, right? Nobody gave a shit because we are fine with our businesses and corporations. We are generally fine with our businesses and corporations stealing money from the government in like massive, massive quantities. We only care about it when it can be weaponized against like minorities essentially or whatever. And when it's like small scale stuff like this, like individual stuff like this, as opposed to systemic issues of fraud, yeah.
Has to worry for their life. And it actually makes me a bit upset because how have we gotten to that point where we've lost common sense and where non-controversial issues have become controversial? And it's actually very worrisome.
How?
And a lot of people come up to me and say, well, Nick, how can we help? Or how do we do?
He's a part of it. You're a part of it. You're a part of the extreme polarization that is happening. You are doing your part right now to contribute to that. You can't, like, as right-wingers, as Republicans, you cannot go out there after having Donald Trump, a literal fucking fascist, go out and, like, politicize every single agency under the sun, politicize the FBI, politicize the Justice Department, like, just basically politicize the Army, politicize the Navy, politicize just every aspect, the Supreme Court, politicize everything, and then be like, I just don't understand why everything feels so controversial now. Why are people mad that I'm out there doing racist agitprop in order to gin up hatred against minorities? I just don't understand it. It's like, what? You can't just do all of the politicization and be like, why is everything so politicized? Like, that's just, I don't know, that's silly.
Do what you did inside our own communities, or how do you have like the courage to go about and do this? And I've really fallen in love with the quote or the speech from Theodore Roosevelt that's called "The Man in the Arena," and it talks about critics and talks about how, like, you don't ever worry what a critic does as long as you know you're fighting for a worthy cause, and it doesn't matter if you fell as long as you're working for a worthy cause. But
yeah, he said, don't worry about your haters. That's what his quote was.
Who's to say that you're not the one risking everything, standing there all alone, going about it?
Classic reactionary
Why should
shit.
you worry about the critics? Why should you worry about the naysayers, or why should you worry about the opposition when you're fighting for a worthy cause? We all are fighting for a worthy cause inside of our communities, with our families, in our churches, at our schools, because a lot of things that we're fighting against are non-controversial issues that have become controversial. No girl should ever have to worry about a man playing on their sports team. Like,
who cares? Who cares? People, we're sending thousands of troops to the Middle East to go to war right now. Like, people can't afford health care. People can't afford just their daily existence. Who gives a shit if a quote-unquote man plays in a woman's sport? Like, that's stupid. That's irrelevant. That's pointless. Who gives a shit?
Controversial is insane. And it takes men and women who are ready to become that man in the arena to be able to confront the opposition, to confront those critics.
Wait a second. It takes a woman to be the man in the arena. Maybe he's pro-trans after all.
Because if no one does, they will win. And when we're fighting for common sense issues that aren't controversial, but nowadays have become controversial, each one of us have to step up and become that person who steps in the arena and says, I don't care what they say, or I don't care what he or she says, I'm going to do it because it's a worthy cause. And if we don't...
They're having a hard time clapping, man. I think that all these people out here realize how bad this looks. Like, if I was in this audience, dude. If I was in this audience and I was listening to this dude talk, I would be like, oh man, is this the best we got? Is this the best we got? This is rough, dude.
Because if you don't, the critics will win. And their voices are a lot louder. That's how they try to intimidate you. Imagine if I would have been intimidated by Governor Walz calling me a delusional conspiracy theorist, a far-right white supremacist, or all the other things that those
politicians called me. A white supremacist, everybody.
In fact, they even incited riots inside their cities for somebody who exposed fraud. Meanwhile, the Leering Center, it wasn't much to hide. Like, that fraud was very obvious. In fact, the Leering Center then even closed down. They fled the city because they know they're committing fraud. And one thing for you guys to think about is, who are the critics? Who are those people that are saying that you're the bad person, or that what you're doing is not right? Well, a lot of times it's the media. A lot of the times it's that person who listens to the media where they've lost that idea of common sense thinking. And so nowadays, the most important thing I feel like for any of us to do is to think, okay, is the cause I'm fighting for, is it a controversial issue? Or is it actually non-controversial, but it's an issue that has become controversial from the critics? And we cannot ever pander to the critics.
This is a stupid thing. What is the difference, right? Like, how do you determine this, right? How do you determine whether something is controversial versus whether something is being made controversial by your opponents or whatever? Who cares? Who cares? Like that that's they're trying to just make they're like I said, they're just trying to make their opinions sound like some sort of because they have incredibly reactionary and weird opinions, right? Like in the grand like state of like politics or whatever, um, far right like MAGA people who do like racist agitprop or like claim like I don't know Haitians are eating dogs or whatever, and they're like, what is this is just a normal opinion to have, right? Like, oh, this is just normal. Like, it's really not normal. Like, it really is not. Like, and we shouldn't tolerate it as normal. It'll just breed more hatred, more resentment, more fighting amongst the working class, and yeah, it's like we should not tolerate this shit.
And we have to keep pursuing a worthy cause. Because what we're fighting for is worthy. America is the greatest country in the world.
Not so much anymore.
And people like to act like it's not, but meanwhile, all the other countries had thousands of years to do it. We had 250 years to do it. And whatever made us the greatest country in those 250 years, we need to make sure that it remains that same way, or else we will fall and the critics will win, and we will not stay the greatest country in the world. And so that's my message for you guys today.
You guys are all accelerating our collapse, by the way. We are entering America's 100 years of humiliation. And yes, it is 100% your guys's. I mean, no, okay, it's not 100% your guys's fault, but the conservatives. However, because liberals played their part as well by facilitating the rise of these reactionary freaks. However, you are just doing all of the shit that empires do whenever they are on the verge of collapse. And so, um, America's century of humiliation is incoming, as evidenced by this person right here, a mentally not quite there 22-year-old somehow getting a stage where he can try his hardest to formulate sentences, like coherent sentences, in front of a room of like probably millionaires or like small business HVAC like business owners or whatever, who then feel obligated and forced to applaud for this incredibly stupid person. Like this is like the epitome of like this might go down as like the one of the main pictures of like America's decline as an empire is that this person right here somehow got on a stage at CPAC, like somehow like clout sharked his way onto a stage at CPAC. It's so silly.
Is to think, really, okay, what cause are we fighting for? Is it a worthy cause? Is it something that's actually not controversial, but maybe the mainstream media or a critic has told me that that's a controversial issue? And when you know it's not, fight and be ready to become the man or the woman in the arena, because if you don't, the critics will win. And this is the greatest country in the world for a reason. We did it in 250 years. Everyone else had thousands of years to do it, and we did that. And so I'm proud to be here today, and I know you guys are all ready to become that man or that woman in the arena, because it is a worthy cause that we are fighting for. Thank you.
Okay. So we watched one of the dumbest people that has ever existed, who may or may not have a learning disability, go up and talk to a bunch of, you know, boat dads and small business tyrants, and they all clapped so hard for him. So I think that really does say something about the current politics of conservatism in America. I tried to find some stats on like government fraud to see if I could justify my like general vibe feeling that red states or like more rural areas tend to have more fraud. The reason that I think that is because I know that rural areas tend to have a lot more just corruption in general, right? Like they when you talk about like the local police departments at in a small town versus a large city or whatever, or the like like smaller hospitals when it comes to like Medicare fraud and like that sort of stuff or whatever. Um, like usually it tends to be that smaller, like more rural areas and towns have more sort of fraudulent behavior. So, um, that's kind of why I think that, but I was having a hard time finding any stats on it, so I can't give you that information right off the bat right now, but maybe I'll find it at some other point. But yeah, anyway, let's go ahead and move on. Who should we watch next? What other CPAC shit should we watch? Here, how about this one?
And all like
We'll watch the I don't even know what to describe Steve Bannon as. The bratwurst of political commentary. Is that right? In terms of foods, like he'd be a bratwurst, right? I think it's just maybe the skin. The skin is making me feel that. Okay, let's see what Steve Bannon has to say about the state. Let's see. This is Watch Live. Former Trump advisor Steve Bannon speaks at CPAC. We'll see what he has to say.
Likelihood is not going to endorse in this race. Why is that? Because the hard work of the grassroots community got in back of Ken Paxton. They dropped almost $100 million of negative ads on Ken Paxton. And right now in the latest poll, Ken Paxton is up by 8 points.
I think that's against Tallarico. He might be. I don't know. It'll be hard to win in Texas. I think Tallarico has a better chance than Jasmine Crockett, but you know, it is what it is. Isn't Ken Paxton? Doesn't he have a ton of controversy? Am I wrong about that? I thought he had a bunch of scandals, but I could be wrong about that. It's not like Republicans give a shit about scandals. They care about power. That's the only thing.
That's a victory for you. Ken Paxton's emblematic of the grassroots and the MAGA movement throughout the nation. It's more than just an attorney general, more than just an individual. It was about the establishment causing a mess in the state of Texas, refusing to deal with it. And when Paxton came out and ran for the Senate, he didn't have to be defeated. He had to be destroyed. Just like they tried to destroy Donald Trump. And you had his back. And that's why Paxton is grinding this out to victory. I also believe there needs to be a major investigation of the Cornyn political operation, how they raised this money, who put the money in, and how the money was spent to destroy Ken Paxton. It's not acceptable. The grassroots are winning all over the place. Look in the state of Virginia, the Commonwealth of Virginia. They're trying to shift the House to be 10-1. The Republican establishment there absolutely epically failed, and then Youngkin walked away after a horrible, horrible putting forward a campaign this last election cycle. The grassroots under Jeff Ryer, a grassroots chairman of the GOP in Virginia and the Commonwealth, have got thousands of grassroots volunteers, people just like yourself, going door to door right now. And Spanberger's landslide on April 21st looks like she could be defeated. So her entire plan to flip the House and impeach Trump and become Newsom's vice president is being thwarted right now by grassroots people.
Testing. Okay, that was really weird. I don't know if you guys, I don't think anything came through from what I saw on the channel, but my audio, or like, I just heard like this super loud buzzing in my ear or whatever, so I'm gonna charge my thing just to make sure, but I thought it was, it came through right as he was talking about that stuff, but let's see.
Is being thwarted right now by grassroots people. In a courtroom in Georgia right now, they've got the toughest, most expensive lawyers from the left. Norm Eisen and Abby Lowell in a 5-hour evidentiary hearing. What? To get the evidence back, to get the ballots back. Why? The 2020...
They're still pretending, man. They're still living in pretend world about 2020 election. Like, okay, first of all, like, who cares at this point, man? You guys won. You got your 2024 Donald Trump. Like, who gives a shit about the 2020 elections at this point? Biden barely did anything. He was a corpse. He was dead the entire presidency. The main accomplishment of his presidency was killing more Palestinians than any previous presidency. He got the record. Congratulations. Like, who cares? Who cares about 2020 at this point? Chill the fuck out. Calm down. I know why they care. They care because they want to do it again, but bigger. And so they have to keep manufacturing that pretend reality in order to justify their future violence. But I'm just saying, it is like, seriously, move on, dude. You look like whiny little brats.
Election was stolen from Donald Trump, and they know it.
Sure, dude.
You think they have them down there just like in this room, grassroots people fought for 6 years. They threatened them with prison. They threatened them with bankruptcy. They threatened them to lose their jobs, lose their families, all of it. And those heroes stood in the breach. And now we have the evidence. We have the evidence that the Republican establishment did not want you to see, that the 2020 election was stolen from Trump.
Totally. I'm sure there's so much evidence. I'm sure. Again, I say, who cares? It was 2020. What are you going to do? Throw Biden in jail? He's already dead. like, come on.
Everywhere you look around, the Republican establishment creates a mess that you have to go in and clean up. Amen, brother. Too good for him. Victory begets victory. The victory of Paxton will drive us forward. A victory in Virginia will drive us forward.
Why does he care so much about Paxton? I don't understand this. Is Paxton supposed to be some like small time dude? I thought he was like an establishment guy. Am I wrong on that? I thought he was like a big money establishment politician. Like, he's been in politics since 2008. I really don't understand.
A victory in Georgia will drive us forward to ultimate victory. Don't listen. I don't want to hear talk about the midterm. I don't want to hear talk about 2028. There are decades in which nothing happens, and there are weeks in which decades happen. We're in those weeks, one after the other, after the other, after the other.
Dude, they don't understand what that means. Sorry, when that quote, okay, this is just a little frustrating for me because that quote does not apply to American electoral politics. Like, what, like the world, it's about the world, like the world changing, right? It is like, I don't know. They seem to think that people are going to remember some local election in Georgia or whatever for all of history. It's like, no, this stuff is minute. The things that change the world are things like October 7th, right? And the following, collapse of the international liberal order, right? Like that will go down in history as the weeks when everything happened, right? The change in the Democratic Party to just being openly pro-genocide, and then I guess maybe not change, but the becoming just blatantly and vocally pro-genocide or whatever, as the entire system that the United States created post World War II is just thrown away. It's just tossed in the dustbin. And then the rise of Donald Trump that came from that exact moment. I think that that's usually what they're talking about when they say there are decades when nothing happens and then weeks when decades happen.
Hold her to the wheel, and we are going to win. We're going to hold the House and hold the Senate and have President Trump come back to mass deportations, right? mass deportations, to unchain Bobby Kennedy, who you're going to hear tomorrow. We have the right policies. We just need the resolve to see it through, finish what we started.
So you clearly don't have the right policies because everybody fucking hates them. The entire populace is like just despises you people, like despises you and your policies, Steve Bannon. You can just go look at the polling, or you can go look at Minneapolis, where you tried your, the brutalist version of your ICE thugs rampaging through American cities and occupying them, right? You can like go and look at how people responded to that, and you can see that people don't fucking like it. So if you're going to try that again, I got news for you. People are still not going to fucking like it. And ICE is going to get pushed out of every fucking city they try that shit in by the people. Like, the more brutal, he wants them to become more brutal here. He wants ICE to become more brutal and start brutalizing people harder. The more brutal you become, the more resistance you will get. And ICE couldn't even handle like a tiny amount of resistance that happened in Minnesota. Imagine when they start getting people going out there and fucking like lynching them and killing them, like then what do you think they're gonna fucking do? Of course they're gonna turn tail and run. So like I don't know. They seem to think that there's like that they can actually succeed in controlling all like the entire populace to bend to the will of like this segment of the population that represents like 20 to 25% or whatever. And that's just not how that's not the nature of the human condition. It's not going to work. Doesn't mean they won't try.
Over a year ago, when Matt and Mercy decided that D.C. wasn't the right place for CPAC, they picked Texas. How providential was that? Given what happened on Proposition 10, given this long shot bet of Ken Paxton right here, right now. And you know why? The state of Texas is the jewel in the crown of the union. What?
Maybe it's okay. I think that the reason that they care so much about Ken Paxton is because I guess he did the whole challenging the 2020 election results thing. Yeah, so I guess he's quote unquote not establishment for that reason, but I just thought he really, to me, he's such a long-standing name in American politics that I kind of assumed that he was not necessarily as aligned with like the MAGA bases other people, but who knows?
But where Texas goes, so goes the nation, and where the nation goes, so goes the world.
Okay.
Now, there have been people here that I had...
If by the nation you mean China, where China goes, so goes the world. That's what I would
guys
say.
like Josh Hammer. Have him on the show a lot. Love his book. A good man and a smart man. But came up yesterday in attacking MTG and Matt Gaetz and Megyn Kelly and Tucker. What's important is not Candace and Tucker and Megyn Kelly or Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro. What is important is you. You need to come to your own conclusion.
You need
to weigh and measure the evidence, to think about the direction of this republic, to think what America First actually stands for, to think through who are our real allies and who are out for themselves. And most importantly, you need to think about a country that...
Sorry, I thought I heard something.
And most importantly, you need to think...
Am I crazy? Was there a fart right there? Guys. Listen very closely. I'm going to turn this way up for a second. Listen closely and tell me, was there a fart?
And who are out for themselves. And most importantly, you need to think...
Right there.
About a country...
Did you hear that? He farted, did he not? Guys, I didn't think I actually heard it. I was worried about going back because I thought maybe I just like hallucinated that, or maybe my cat farted or something. Okay, 1 second. Here we go, everybody. I do this for you. This is the news that you care about. This is the news that you deserve. So let's all go back together and listen to this.
Through who are our real allies and who are out for themselves. And most importantly, you need to think.
Right there. There's definitely a fart there, people. Clip it. Somebody clip it.
About a country that puts American citizens first, that American citizens have priority over everything.
Okay.
People are sitting there going, oh, this person didn't come, this person didn't come. Yes, there are many great people that couldn't make it. Either they didn't want to come or they're tied up running wars and looking after the country. It doesn't matter. You came. This is the power of this movement. The only way we're going to win in November is to go back what got us through in 24, what got us through in 20, what got us through in 16. Grassroots effort going door to door to get low propensity, lower information voters, Trump supporters to the...
Look, I don't know much about the ground game of these goons. To be honest, I don't know if they are actually like good at getting people motivated enough to come out and do like canvassing like I do. I go out and do canvassing for politicians that I like or whatever. However, I just have such a hard time imagining it, man. That that like HVAC business owners or like small business tyrants like would take even a split second out of their day to go out and canvass for these politicians. I would assume that if they have any canvassers, they are paid because there is a trillion-dollar industry behind the conservative movement that props it up and astroturfs it. So that's kind of like my assumption. I don't think there is such thing as a like grassroots conservative like movement. It is all funded by billions upon billions of dollars of propaganda and stuff. So but maybe there are some like young gung-ho people who believe in the cause and are willing to go spend some of their actual time, like free time, to go do this stuff. But it's also like anathema to the like idea of conservatism, like because the entire thing is about like right-wing ideology is that it is all individual. Everything is individual, and you should only do the things that benefit yourself, not the collective, right? So going out and canvassing, taking time out of your day to go out and try to do something for a cause that is bigger than yourself or whatever is just like vehemently opposite of that ideology, that I just don't really see it happening, at least not in large numbers.
To the polls. And if we do that, the Sunland Uplands is in front of us. If we don't, if we just have these quarrels and this bickering and this fighting and lose the fact of what happened in Texas in January and February, if we lose what's happening in the Commonwealth of Virginia now, if we lose the fact of 6 years of struggle in Georgia, we now have the evidence of the 2020 stolen election. If you lose the what's important,
who
then we're gonna
cares?
lose the country.
Jesus Christ.
Fight on.
Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? I do not give a shit about your delusional fantasies about 2020 at this point. It is irrelevant. I know the only reason you're doing this is to try to plant the seeds for having, some sort of like coup or whatever in the near term future. I get that. But it all comes off as so whiny, dude. They're little bitches. They cannot just move the fuck on. Move the fuck on. Like, Biden didn't really do shit his entire presidency. I mean, yeah, I guess there was some good labor executive orders or whatever, right? But he really accomplished almost nothing except, like I said, melting as many brown people in Palestine as he possibly could during that time period. So, I just don't understand why there's why they're still so butthurt about it, man. Okay. Well, let's go over to this video. Okay, I don't know how this one's gonna go, to be honest. We're really just on CPAC watch right now at this point. After this one, I might move on to just like articles or x.com. But so my understanding is that this is Reza Pahlavi. I think that he is the Shah's son, if I remember correctly. For those who are unaware, uh, the Shah was the Western imposed monarch that ruled Iran before the Iranian Revolution, that brought us, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard and the like the Ayatollah and all that sort of stuff. Like they were the ones who ran it before essentially they were overthrown and thrown into exile by the Iranian people. So a lot of people think that, oh, the next heir to, if we're going to put in a puppet regime or whatever, is going to be this guy, I think. That's what they think. However, even Trump realized pretty early on in the invasion of Iran or the bombing of Iran that this guy, the Shah's son, has like no popular support whatsoever in Iran. Like nobody, like this would not make anybody happy. He would have no legitimacy, and he would probably be chased out of the country instantaneously. But let's see what he has to say at CPAC here. The Nixon. I don't know if I'm allowed to play that, to be honest, so I'm just going to pause it. Because I just don't know if that's copyrighted music or not. I hope it didn't do that. I hope at the beginning it wasn't. Maybe it was. Oh well, we'll see what happens.
Thank you so much. Thank you. سپاسگزارم. سپاس.
Oh, so this one's going to be for all my Iranian expats out there. Everyone who wants the Iranian state to collapse in on itself. Everybody who wants to bomb as many Iranian school children as possible. All of our Iranian expats out there. This one's for you guys. I hope you're watching.
Hey, guys.
Man. Dude, okay, maybe there are no Iranian expats watching because they're all fucking here at CPAC. What the fuck? Why are there so many people who are like pro Shah in this building? This is kind of crazy to me that he would get an actual chant. He got more of a chant than Nick Shitley, dude.
Suppose. Thank you.
Dude, hurry up.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I had to overcome the flu the last couple of days, but I had to be here to be a voice of millions of my fellow Iranians. So I apologize in advance for my voice.
I think the audio and the video is a little bit like messed up here. I'm gonna try refreshing just to make sure that it's not me, but I think it's just the video. What the fuck, dude? YouTube, get your shit together. I think I was around right here.
In the memory, I apologize in advance for my voice.
There we go.
I begin today
Yeah, I think it's just
in the
video.
memory of my fallen compatriots, the heroes of my country who have fought, bled, and died, not only for their own freedom and for the liberation of Iran.
Like the IRGC, baby. They fought hard for the liberation of Iran, and they lost a lot of people. I agree. Long live the resistance. Am I right, buddy?
From the clutches of an evil, depraved regime that has held us hostage for 47 years.
The Shah. Yeah, fuck him, right? Right, people? Am I in the wrong room?
The freedom, peace, and security of the world.
Dude, okay. I'm really confused about why so many people are clapping for this. There must be so many Iranian expats in this room. I do not understand because the average conservative, I'm pretty sure, number one, doesn't know who the fuck this guy is. Number two, does not really like care that much, I think, about the internal politics of Iran or anything. So I don't know why they would be clapping so hard for this guy, but okay.
When I speak of these heroes as they come off the streets from protests or as they prepare for the final battle, they often ask me,
God, final battle, what?
tell the world we are not just fighting for ourselves, we are fighting for them too.
I'm sure. I'm sure they totally said that to you, dude. Okay, I'm totally, yeah.
So it is in that spirit and in their honor that I ask you to close your eyes for a moment and imagine a free Iran.
That'd be nice. A free Iran that's not subjected to constant imperial dominance by America. That would be so. That would be incredible to see the prosperity that could happen if Iran was allowed to be free. Man, if Iran just had a nuke, can you imagine the peace and tranquility that would exist in the Middle East right now if Iran just had a little nuclear umbrella? That would be insane to think about. We'd live in a completely separate world if Iran could just get a nuke.
No
A
more
much better world.
nuclear threats.
Yeah,
No
true.
more terrorism.
Israel?
No
Yeah,
more.
oh, that's true. Israel wouldn't be able to do all their nuclear threats and all their terrorism all over the world if Iran just had a nuclear umbrella. I completely agree. A free Iran would be
No
great.
more closing of the Strait of Hormuz. No
Wouldn't
more
even have to.
blackmailing of the global community. Imagine an Iran that instead of exporting terrorism is promoting freedom. Freedom to its people, stability to its neighbors, national security and economic opportunity for the United States and the free world.
Okay, exploitation. Can you imagine how much we could exploit them if we could just go in there and like occupy and dominate them at an even more severe level than we already do? All that oil.
Can you imagine Iran going from death to America to God bless America?
What? That'll never happen. That'll never happen. Even in your wildest dreams where you get installed as the new king of Iran. Look at this guy. Look at his face. No, that would never happen. They would always say death to America because they would know that it's a sham. Because all that would happen in that scenario is you would just exploit them even harder. If Iran did not protect themselves in the way that they are, you would just exploit their country even more, and then the people would hate America even more than they already do right now. God, we're such fucking baboons. We're monkeys. We're baboons. These people in this room, they are cattle. They are not true human beings. They have not realized their actual selves as human beings. They are literal fucking baboons who just chant USA at like the buzzwords.
Well, I too can, because I have seen the true soul of my people. Let's remember, on 9/11, one of America's darkest hours, when your enemies, and even some who claim to be your friends, celebrated those horrific attacks, the Iranian people did something the world wasn't supposed to see. They risked their lives to hold candlelight vigils in the heart of Tehran.
I'm so confused right now. I am so confused right now. Okay, so 9/11, that was Saddam Hussein, right? Sorry, I just want to make sure I'm not being 9/11 plot. Am I crazy? Who primarily planned it? Wasn't it Saddam Hussein? Or wait, no, sorry. Who was the other guy? No, Saddam Hussein. Okay, sorry. This is where I get confused. Saddam Hussein is who we blamed it on, right? Okay. But this is all very, sorry, this is all very confusing because Saddam Hussein also went to war with Iran. So, okay, they were doing a candlelight vigil for the victims of 9/11. Um, I'm just really confused by this. Also, I think Saudi Arabia had a big plan or a big plot for, like, was a big contributor and backer of the 9/11 uh, like terrorist attacks. So, um, this is all very confusing. Sorry. I'm getting confused.
They didn't do it for a camera. They did it for a friend in pain. That is the true face of Iran. Unlike the regime that worships death and destruction, the Iranian people celebrate life and liberty. That's why I can imagine an Iran that exports engineers instead of extremists, startups instead of suicide bombers, energy instead of hatred. I can imagine a Middle East where Iran is no longer a source of chaos, but an anchor of stability.
Not until they get a nuke, man. I'm telling you, not until they get a nuke. Only once they get a nuke and Israel and America can't fuck with them anymore will there be peace in the Middle East.
An Iran that does not fear its people, doesn't threaten its neighbors, doesn't isolate itself from the world. Imagining this is not difficult.
Isolate itself?
Because
oh my gosh. Why do I... God, I'm so sorry. I keep clicking this button on the side of my mouse. I need to just not put my hand on the mouse.
They did it for a friend in pain. That is the true face of Iran. The Middle East, where Iran is no longer a source of chaos, but an anchor of stability. Doesn't threaten its neighbors, doesn't isolate itself from the world. Imagining this is not difficult, because this is exactly what Iran once was and what it can be again.
Oh yeah, under the Shah. Dude, they're so lost in their own sauce. There's no way that America, I don't think there's any way that America could install a puppet regime in Iran at all. The people would not allow it. Like, I'm serious. I don't think that there's anything that they could do. The IRGC, as far as I'm aware, has like generally like, you know, I mean, yes, obviously there is some, oppositions to the military command and all that sort of stuff or whatever. But at the very least, while the war is going on, the immediate aftermath, like we could install a puppet regime if we did full occupation, like full boots on the ground, like occupation of Iran, occupying the entire territory like we did in Afghanistan. But as soon as we left, just like in Afghanistan, they would get overthrown immediately by the IRGC. So, like, I don't know. This all seems just very make-believe and delusional.
When Iran is free, the Middle East changes. When Iran is free, America regains a great friend. A free Iran represents the single largest untapped economic opportunity of the 21st century.
God, I hate it.
A nation of 93 million people, highly educated, entrepreneurial, and pro-West, finally unleashed.
I hate it. Anytime they talk, so that's what the title of this one was, the largest untapped economic opportunity of the 21st century. It's like, they're basically just straight up saying like we want to exploit their resources, which is like what the true reason of all of this is. We want to take their resources. We want to extract their resources. They have the audacity to keep their resources for themselves and distribute the benefits of those resources to their people as opposed to our pedo-billionaire overlords. They have that audacity. That's what they're saying here, and they are basically saying once we go to war with them and we take it over, then we will get to like take all of those resources from them, and we can eviscerate them even more than they already are.
Over the next decade alone, a strategic U.S.-Iran partnership could generate more than $1 trillion for the American economy.
Okay, I'm done. This is too, like, a little, sorry, this is a little too annoying for me, to be honest. I have a pretty, I think, okay tolerance for annoying doublethink or whatever. Maybe I'm just exhausted from all the other CPAC clips. It's hard, man. It's hard. It's hard doing what I do. You guys don't understand. Okay, well, let's see here. Ooh, there is one article that I did want to read, though. First, I'm going to go to my For You page, see if there's anything really fun that, like, catches my eye. We got a Hassan interview. That's too long, though. We can watch people blast roids and how it ruins people's lives. If there's nothing real fun here, though, I'm going to move on to reading a quick article. What time is it? 9:18. I should probably be done around 10 or 10:15. We could do a quick one on the Tiger Woods situation.
Tonight,
I wonder if they'll show any. Okay, they'll show, I think, some stuff. Yeah, let's see what's going on with Tiger Woods. I guess he got in a DUI accident, you know. I don't really know much about Tiger Woods nowadays, but let's see what they have to say about it.
Tonight, Tiger Woods is behind bars in Florida, charged with driving under the influence.
Mr. Woods did exemplify signs of impairment.
Just before 2 p.m., the Martin County Sheriff's Office says the golfing legend was driving alone at a high speed on a 30-mile-per-hour suburban road in Jupiter Island. The 50-year-old was trying to pass a pressure cleaner truck.
This is a small 2-lane road, and there was no shoulder for this pressure cleaner gentleman to get off the side of the road. As he was trying to move to the side of the road, the Land Rover overtook him at the last minute, swerved to avoid a collision, but clipped the back end of the trailer.
Authorities say Woods crawled out of the passenger door and that he and the other driver are not injured.
Mr. Woods did a breathalyzer test, blew 000s, but when it came time for us to ask for a urinalysis test, he refused, and so he's been charged with DUI, with property damage, and refusal to submit.
A 000 though on the breathalyzer. He's probably, well, first and foremost, he's probably gonna get off, right? He's rich, I assume. He has a very, I'm sure, very well-paid lawyers, like legal team. He definitely has like lawyers on hand after all of his, like, you know, divorces or whatever. So I am pretty positive that if he blew a 000, even if he refused the urinalysis, like, he's gonna get off scot-free. They're probably not gonna, I would guess, unless they have like evidence that he was failing field sobriety tests or whatever. I'm gonna guess that nothing's gonna come out of this.
To a lawful test.
Even if he might have actually been drunk, I don't know for sure.
Also charged with driving under the influence in 2017. He pled guilty to reckless driving.
Okay. And he has a history. Okay, if he has a history, then that might impact it as well. He might potentially get he might potentially have some sort of, he might be prosecuted for it.
And in 2021, Woods was driving nearly 90 miles per hour in a residential area of Los Angeles County, according to the sheriff. He hit a tree and the vehicle went airborne. Woods was not charged following that crash, but he did so.
Dude, oh my gosh, man. This guy is a menace. He's a menace to society. I don't care if he was drunk or not. Take away that dude's license. Like, what? A person who has, like, gotten in 3 major accidents in, like, 5 years, should not be on the road. Like, I'm sorry. He just shouldn't be. Like, I'll let you have one, you know, like one that you're ostensibly at fault for. The second one that you're at fault for, like, you get a timeout. And the third one, 3 strikes, you're out, buddy. Like, no more driving for you.
Suffered numerous fractures in his right leg, requiring emergency surgery.
I feel I'm lucky to be alive.
But barely a year after that crash, Woods remarkably returned to golf on its biggest stage. He played at the 2022 Masters and even put on a show for his fans in Augusta. Just last October, he underwent back surgery for the 7th time. And earlier this week, Woods returned to professional golf for the first time in almost 2 years.
This body doesn't recover like it was when I was 24, 25. Doesn't mean I'm not trying. I've been trying for a while.
Woods is dating President Trump's
that.
former daughter-in-law, Vanessa Trump. Late today, the president...
Wait, what? I didn't know that. Guys, politics. Look, I did it. I made this political.
Woods is dating President Trump's former daughter-in-law, Vanessa Trump. Late today, the...
Former daughter-in-law. Who is she married to? Or wait, Vanessa... Donald Trump Jr. She's the ex-wife of Donald Trump Jr. Okay. Oof, man. That's not a flattering picture they have of her on the Wikipedia page.
president weighing in.
I feel so badly. He's got some difficulty. There was an accident, and that's all I know. Very close friend of mine.
Jesse joins us now live outside the jail where Tiger Woods is being held. And Jesse, any idea when he could be released?
Tom, the sheriff says that the earliest that Woods could be released is 8 hours after his arrest. That means the soonest we'll see that golfing legend walking out of this jail is close to midnight. Meanwhile, we have reached out to Tiger Woods' team, but we have not heard back. Tom?
We thank you for...
Okay, yeah. Get him off the road, man. Seriously, that guy should never be allowed to drive a car for the rest of his life. He should be forced to move to a place with public transit. Okay, I did want to read one article, because this one caught my eye. Okay. As many people are aware, people who watch my channel, I am Pope of the Seculars. I am the leader of the seculars. They all worship me in a secular fashion. And so I don't have a lot of purview over things like the church or what the church does or, you know, the general idea of like how people feel about religion or whatever. That's not my purview. But I do like to analyze political and cultural trends related to religion, and I can do that. That's fine. That's within my purview. So, like science and scientific analysis and stats and data, even when it pertains to religious stuff, is technically in the realm of secularism. So I think I have purview. I think I have domain over some of that stuff. And so we're going to go over this article because, guys, I got news for you, for all you Christian heads out there. The Gen Z religious revival that we all heard so much about a year ago, turns out there might have been a little bit of flawed data there. I am not surprised. I clocked this as bullshit as well when it happened. I had also seen other people, like, you know, be skeptical about this. But just from like my general vibes that I get out in the world is that religion in no way is having an upturn right now. It might have like a slight, like as times get more scary or whatever, I think there is like some semblance of a flight to religion. However, at least in America and Europe, stuff isn't really that materially bad, I think, or like it is, but it's not, you know, to get a huge bump from that sort of like flee to religion. Also, I think the vast majority of Christians in America are like culturally Christian, and like they like to wear Christian as a symbol or an identifier of like their personality traits, as opposed to like uh, actually go to church and engage in the act of like engage in the practice of religion. So there's that as well. Anyway, those are just the general vibes that I had that made me think that this idea of a Gen Z religious revival is kind of bullshit. So apparently I may have been right for once. So let's see what this article has to say. This is Gen Z religious revival claim withdrawn over flawed YouGov survey by Kaya Burgess. Um, A report claiming that more young people are attending church services has been pulled after the firm found its data was skewed by fraudulent responses. A report claiming that large numbers of Gen Z have been going to church services prompted excitement about a religious revival. However, it has now emerged that it was based on flawed data after a survey had been filled in by fraudulent respondents. So it was straight up like, I guess, like people who shouldn't have been responding responded or something. After a year of robustly defending its findings, the Bible Society has now formally withdrawn the report produced with polling data from YouGov called "The Quiet Revival." I remember reading that article back in the day and being highly skeptical. Its release had a significant impact when it was published last year. Yeah, every single reactionary religious person was up their own ass about this. If you talk to anybody who was like religious during this time period, they were so fucking annoying. Like after this article came out, they were so annoying. And I was just thinking to myself, man, I'm just gonna wait it out. I'm gonna wait it out and get my "I told you so's" ready. Get them all locked and loaded. um, the climb down will puncture optimism in church circles following the claims, which say that the number of young people attending services had overturned decades of decline and suddenly quadrupled between 2018 and 2024. Since its publication in April, the Bible Society had repeatedly defended the report in the face of skepticism, including doubt cast by the Times analysis of church attendance figures. I had also seen various people, like I wasn't the only one, right? My initial clocking of it, like when I read the article, was my individual opinion, but I saw other people who were voicing skepticism at the same time. So I'm not some sort of like, even as Pope of the Seculars, I don't have like magic powers that allow me to know things, and I'm not like some like smarty pants who just knows things or whatever. I go very vibe based, but usually I think my vibes have a relatively good track record of being on point when it comes to certain things. Or like my bullshit detector is pretty good, I think. YouGov has now apologized and said that anti-fraud measures to protect its surveys were not administered in the optimal way for the 2024 poll, which contained a number of respondents who we can now identify as fraudulent. The firm has said it will rerun the survey. The Times understands that it was mainly the result of people overseas who were trying to claim the financial incentive offered for completing surveys. It found that the fraud was human rather than being caused by automated bots. Okay. So that's interesting to me. I would have thought that it was religious people trying to manipulate the data to sort of to honestly kind of make it seem like there was a religious revival, to kind of manufacture one in a sense or whatever. Like they thought, oh, if we get people to think there's a religious revival, then the Zoomers will start coming to church thinking it's like the cool thing to do. That's kind of what I thought was going on. It seems like it was more just like there was a financial incentive offered for completing surveys. I don't know if that means generally or if this one in particular had a financial incentive, um, but yeah, lots of people, if there is financial incentive from especially like poorer countries, will complete surveys online in a way to like obviously just like make some quick money. But yeah. One sec. Sorry. The Bible Society, which publishes, translates, and distributes the Bible worldwide, said on Tuesday, YouGov informed us that the data used in the Quiet Revival report was flawed. Because of this, we're removing the report. Uh, this is a picture. The post-pandemic bounce in attendance at Sunday services has already started to plateau. Yeah. The report found that the proportion of 18 to 24-year-olds who attended church at least once a month had shot up from 4% in 2018 to 16% in 2024. Furthermore, it showed that attendance had leapt from 5 to 13% among 25 to 34-year-olds from 8 to 12% among the general population. Yeah, that just seemed like that did seem a little bit too big, especially for 25 to 34-year-olds. Claims of a revival in church going. What is this? Especially among the young. The Times and the Sunday Times. So I think this is a picture of this is a picture from the original article in Stats, I think, where you can see these numbers and how this is demographics, I guess, of like how much they go to church or whatever. That was what they thought from the original article, based apparently on this fraudulent data. The findings were seized upon gladly by churches and religious leaders who were keen to attract more young people into their own pews. Stephen Cottrell, the Archbishop of York, told the Church of England's General Synod last July that the report encourages us with news of a more spiritually aware generation of younger people exploring faith. Yeah, obviously the church was going to hop on this shit like it was, what's something that you hop on, like a pogo stick, right? Because you can kind of, I mean, it's a little bit sad, I guess, in a sense, but you can, I think, almost see a little bit of desperation here, right? They want to see some sort of turnaround. In terms of like actual church attendance. I don't actually disagree that people might maybe becoming more quote unquote spiritual. I think that's much more abstract though than church. A lot of people who claim to be spiritual, like just like the aesthetics of it and use it as a cultural signifier and aren't really like engaging in a belief system that could constitute as religion, in my opinion. However, I do think there might be more people that are kind of looking into religion, maybe as like a personal way of dealing with the chaos of the world to some extent. Everybody finds something, right? As a secular, I dive into community organizing and bettering myself and others or whatever. That's kind of like how I deal with it. But anyway, it prompted theories that young people may be more aware of the mental health benefits of faith or maybe embracing religion for guidance and stability during the pandemic and wars. That's kind of what I was talking about. But the findings would have equated to hundreds of thousands of people, particularly young men, suddenly starting to attend services. I also thought a lot of young men would just be lying more, to be honest. I see a lot of people who are like TikTok Christians and but they don't engage in faith outside of just like what they can present to others as a cultural signifier. So I also thought maybe a part of this was that people were just lying more about actually going to church. Although some individual churches were able to find case studies of young people joining their pews, Times analysis found there was little sign in national figures across the major churches of any revival and attendance beyond a modest post-pandemic bounce that is already starting to plateau and remains below pre-pandemic levels. This looks much more akin to what I was expecting. Yeah. Catholic Mass, and then the blue is Church of England services, and it's just a slow decline over the years with a huge decline over COVID, obviously, and then came back up, and it'll probably just keep going down until it plateaus at some level. I don't know, maybe like 200,000 or something. There will always be some religious people, regardless of how much less popular it is. David Voas, a professor of social science at University College London, said on Tuesday that experts have been telling them for the better part of a year that the figures look unlikely to be correct. Polling experts, including the Pew Research Center in the United States and Sir John Curtis from the University of Strathclyde, noted that surveys conducted among randomized samples of respondents rather than those who can noted that surveys conducted among randomized samples of respondents rather than those who can opt in to respond regularly show a decline in church going. Okay, so that's the difference between just doing a random sample group, like sending it out to, X amount of people and getting all of their responses, regardless of who they are, what religion, what their backgrounds are, as compared to an opt-in situation where people hear that there's a survey about religious church attendance and they all rush to the polls to be like, yes, I go to church every day or whatever, right? So that's kind of that difference. So these are the randomized surveys. From 2018, so same time period, 2018 to 2024, and you can see across all demographics there is a large difference, like a downward trend in church going and attendance, and the hugest one is Gen Z, which, my God, a randomized sample said 3%. 3% of Gen Z is actually going to church. So the Bible Society said as recently as January that its report was based on a high-quality YouGov survey which used a tried and trusted methodology, but the group has now said this week that the quiet revival data is unreliable. We're disappointed this has happened, and we know many of you will feel the same. You shouldn't be disappointed that you should be a little bit embarrassed, I think, is how I would say you should feel. You should not be disappointed because when data is corrected, you should just be like, oh, I guess I was wrong, right? I guess I was wrong. And you should also analyze your biases and why you expected, or not necessarily expected, but why you wanted this outcome so much that you were willing to jump all in without maybe double checking if it actually felt right or not. Because if you were like me, I would have saw these results and be like, I'm not so sure. Maybe we should do a second polling with a different methodology or something. So yeah, I'm just saying. It's not like the biggest deal in the world though, or whatever. Who cares, right? This is just like one little polling thing. It was just people were very annoying about it, so that's why I'm reading this article so I can get my "I told you so"s, like blow my "I told you so" load out there. Sorry for that visual. Said the society to its largely Christian audience. Sorry, Christians as well for that visual. If you're listening to this, I'm sorry. Noting that the response was remarkable to the initial report. Okay. But explained. YouGov has quality control systems designed to exclude survey respondents who are not based in the UK, who attempt to complete the survey more than once, or who give inattentive or random answers. The Bible Society was informed in early March that significant parts of these systems were not functioning correctly during the 2024 survey, the result of human error on YouGov's part. YouGov, I thought they were relatively reputable. This is a pretty big deal if they failed this hard. If they didn't have systems in place to protect against this, that seems like, because I thought YouGov polling reliability. Yeah, they're considered highly reliable and are among the most accurate, reputable polling. So this is honestly kind of a huge deal, I feel like, for YouGov that they could let this happen, because that to me calls into question like even more of their polling. I know in the future I might be a little bit more skeptical about YouGov's polling that they let this happen. So to some extent, the Bible Society, which I know they wanted this to be true or whatever, and they should analyze that own bias within themselves. But also, I don't necessarily blame them too much for trusting YouGov, one of the most reputable pollsters in the world, so that they would have this sort of stuff ironed out. YouGov said, due to the ongoing scrutiny this work received, we have reanalyzed the data using new and additional better tools and techniques. The review found that specific demographic groups particularly emphasized in this survey contained a number of respondents who we can now identify as fraudulent, noting this occurred at a higher rate than typical amongst other polls at the time, and enough to make a few points difference to the key result. This was because some of the anti-fraud measures available in 2024 were not administered in the optimal way. Stephen Shakespeare, chief executive officer of YouGov, said, YouGov takes full responsibility for the outputs of the original 2024 research, and we apologize for what has happened. We would like to stress that the Bible Society have at all times accurately and responsibly reported the data we supplied them. Yeah, exactly. That's what I said earlier. They're not completely, they're not at fault necessarily. They should just try to engage in critical thinking as to why they got this one wrong. The survey firm noted online market research has come under increasing attack by fraudsters in the past several years. YouGov have greatly strengthened our procedures to defend against potential fraud. The Bible Society added that unreliable data doesn't mean there has been no rise in church going, but said that the 2024 survey can no longer be regarded as a reliable source of information about the spiritual landscape in Britain. A Church of England spokesman said the increases the church had seen in its own attendance in recent years were not on the scale suggested in the Bible Society report, but said they appeared to be a genuine openness to Christianity, including among young people. Not from what I saw in that poll up here, that 3% that 3% attendance in church or whatever. But okay. Andrew Copson, chief executive of Humanists UK, said the result showed that many people had wrongly jumped on the bandwagon of a supposed Christian revival in the UK. And they did, and I'm sorry that bandwagon turned out to be a not real bandwagon. It turned out to be just a what's a little go-kart, not an actual bandwagon. And I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry. But I have to do it. I have to do it. I told you so. I told you so. Okay, I'm done. Yeah, I like a lot of people. I'm not anti-religion. Okay, I'm not anti-theist. A lot of people who are agnostic or atheist do tend to lean a little too hard into the anti-theism direction. However, a lot of people have been traumatized by religion in some way, shape, or form, especially, trans or gay, queer people have been traumatized by religion. So I don't really. Okay, sorry about that. Of course, so I understand from their perspective why they would be anti-theist, right? I would always caution people when they're becoming anti-theist to make sure that they are not becoming anti-Muslim, because that tends to be the pipeline of anti-theism. But yeah, so I'm not anti-theist, and I don't really care one way or another if religion has a revival or not. I think religion can be good or bad depending on who is wielding it and for what purpose. That is my just analysis as a secular person, as Pope of the seculars. Just don't use it for evil, and I won't come for you. If you do wield Christianity for evil, I will come for you. And that's about all I gotta say on the matter. But definitely an interesting article. Glad that I could read it on here for all of you people, all of you wonderful seculars or Christians or Muslims or Jews or whoever, whatever Claytriots out there, whatever your religious affiliation is, or Witka, or witches, I don't know, whatever you guys are. I haven't looked at my demographic reports on YouTube. There's not a ton of people yet, so it's like, not that big of a deal. At some point maybe I'll do some polling for my audience to see if my Pope of the Seculars see how far my reach is beyond just my domain of the seculars. Okay. Let's see here. We're going to scroll around on X, everybody, the Everything app. I'm going to be here for maybe another 15 minutes or so, and then I got to get going. So I got to do some canvassing for Cori Bush. Let's see what this is. Let me just refresh, see what happens. Okay, let's see what's going on over on X, the Everything app. Okay, we'll look at this video. David Sirota, I forget who he is. Lever News. The name is familiar. Okay. Everyone should stop pretending Donald Trump singularly turned the presidency into a monarchy. Leaders of both parties collude to ignore warnings and give him the power he's now abusing. It's annoying that the truth has been memory hold. 100%. I completely agree with this assessment. Trump is just the natural end state of what we have been building to as a political project for the past like 40 years, or really since our founding, to be honest. But like in particular, I guess the last 20, 30 years of each president like Clinton, Obama, Trump 1, Biden, all kind of just doing everything through, slowly doing everything through executive order, going to war unilaterally, like Obama in Libya and stuff, all of this has been leading to this moment. And I'm going to watch this video and then I'll give a little bit more of my analysis on it.
I have never been a quitter.
Once upon a time, an imperial president was cast out of the palace.
Those were the days.
But all the president's men refused to relinquish the throne's power.
I must put the interests of America first.
So they went to work, rewiring the government.
Yeah, and also was never really truly punished that much. Richard Nixon wasn't thrown in jail or anything, I don't think. And to be honest, maybe this is a little bit of a offensive opinion, but I think every single one of our presidents should have been thrown in jail after their presidency. None of them has not committed incredible atrocities that need to be answered for. But at the very least, Bush, I forgot to mention him as well, lied us into a war that cost us trillions of dollars and hundreds or thousands of U.S. lives for the Epstein, for pedobillionaires, he deserves to be in jail or worse, in my opinion. But State Department.
They didn't just take back the controls. They began building something new, something stronger. They gave the president the power to go around Congress to launch unauthorized wars. They ignored the law and cut secret arms deals.
The Pentagon says millions of dollars worth of weapons were turned over to the CIA for shipment to Iran.
They manufactured vast new executive powers for a war on terror.
Yep.
I would characterize Guantanamo Bay as the least worst place we could have selected.
And also, yeah, it all comes back, man. All of this stuff, all of the torture, all of the detainment, all of that, it's coming back right now in the form of ICE and is going to get a lot worse. And all of the stuff that we're going to do in Iran or whatever, that's all going to come back. And U.S. citizens, these aren't just going to be brown people forever people. They're going to be U.S. citizens. It's going to be me and you that are going to be black bagged like this and thrown in detention centers. I'm just letting people know what our future holds.
The Obama administration's continuing a Bush-era policy authorizing the killing of U.S. citizens abroad.
The goal of this master plan was to create an all-powerful president, or as some called it, the unitary executive.
You're not going to be a dictator, are you? I said no, other than day one.
So when a man longing to be a king took the throne, He inherited unprecedented powers to get his way. And those powers are now turning our world upside down. Welcome to Master Plan Season 2, The Kingmakers, how the presidency was turned into a monarchy. Search Master Plan in your podcast app to subscribe.
Okay. So this was an interesting video. I loved the visuals. That was very engaging. I loved the analogy with like the wiring and like the hard wiring stuff together and all that. I really liked all that. They didn't mention anything related to capitalism though. Those people that were in the room that were doing all of the wiring, those were the Epstein class, right? Those were the billionaires who have made so much money and so much profit off of our endless militarism abroad. That was them. I don't know much about this show or whatever, about how it's presented or what its message is going to be, but if you cannot put that, or at least some sort of like allusion to that, into the show, even if it's just only limiting it to Epstein or whatever, and not like calling them the capitalists or whatever, then it's not going to be that effective in fighting back, because that's the thing people need to understand, is that this was the course that we were set on by our oligarchical like pedo overlords. The more power they attained, this is all part of their plan, their master plan. So, but yeah, it was a good video though, and they could talk about that in the actual thing. I just don't know anything about it.
And a reminder, these are the same people. So corporate Democrats are going after Hassan Piker again. And a reminder, these are the same people who have been preaching that we need a Joe Rogan of the left for 2 years. Hassan Piker is not the reason that the Democratic Party is fractured. Neoliberals are fracturing the Democratic Party. Corporatist Democrats are fracturing the Democratic Party. Genocidal maniacs are fracturing the Democratic Party. The same people who try to tell you that leftist voices of reason are the problem are the same people who tried to tell you that Bernie Sanders was the problem, who tried to tell you that AOC was the problem, who tried to tell you that TikTok was the actual problem and not Israel's genocidal actions in Gaza. These people do not learn from history and they don't read the room. And it's these kinds of Democrats, corporatist Democrats, elitist Democrats, who are the reason that Democrats fail, who are the reason why people don't trust Democrats. 100%. And what they don't understand is the more they go after people like Hassan Piker, the more they are committing themselves to a history of irrelevance. The more they go after leftist voices, the more they make themselves look like idiots, and the less chance they have to lead us out of this hole. So it's infuriating, but it's the same thing, time and time and time and time again. Hassan Piker is not.
Yeah, I'm not even so sure about that. Well, I mean, I am that they are obviously becoming less and less relevant. However, what they're going to sorry. Man, this coffee. Okay. What they're going to do though is here's the problem, right? As the left becomes more influential and starts holding more power within the Democratic Party, as it's starting to do, the liberals are going to turn to the fascists, even more so than they already are. Right now, the establishment Democrats are facilitating the rise of fascism by just sitting back and not doing anything, right? But if they ever see actual left-wing power that might challenge capital interests, like that might start taxing the rich, that might if they start seeing that stuff, like ascending and attaining true actual power in the realm of politics, they will start like legitimately becoming like like never left Republicans essentially, or like never left Trumpists. Like they are going to like abandon the Democratic Party and just straight up blatantly be like, we are now actually for the fascist movement. They will align with fascists over the left every single time. These liberals will. So the job of us is to determine who is who. We have to determine who would rather have fascism than democratic socialism, for instance, or even modest social democracy, because that's really what people think of when they hear the term democratic socialism. But like, But you like we need to determine who would rather have fascism than socialism. Those people are our enemies, and they will, and they're not going to be won over. They just need to be purged, and I guess they can go over and ride Trump stick whenever they're done. But whenever they're done with the Democratic Party. But yeah, I don't know. That was an interesting video. Okay. So I think there was some criticisms of the No Kings protest, and I think they're valid critiques. And I read one the other day that I think is a valid critique. Um, that it is very much lib coded. It is very much by the books. You know, communicated with like obviously communicated with the police and with the establishment, and it doesn't really, in my opinion, uh, truly signal any sort of like fear from the American establishment, because we've seen what happens when the capitalist interests in America and when the establishment, like including Trump, are actually afraid of like what the people are protesting, right? If you want a perfect example, go look at the Palestine encampments or whatever. But also you can look throughout history of like the Black Panthers or the Civil Rights Movement or the World Trade Organization protests or the Iraq War protests. When you see the cops go out there and just start beating the shit out of protesters, like that's when you know that like they are actually afraid of it, right? However, that being said, even if it is very lib coded, the sheer amount of people and getting people outdoor and organizing and getting used to that feeling of going outside and like standing for a cause that is bigger than yourself will, I think, eventually get these people to like create an ideology for themselves and like be able to organize like in a more resistance-based manner when the time comes. You know what I'm saying? Like when they have to put their bodies on the line, or else, or else people are going to start getting thrown in concentration camps. Like this is good, like practice, I guess I would say. So that's why I don't have that much of a problem with it, I guess. I've been kind of waffling on this, but I think that in the end, it's like a good thing.
Working class revolution! Working class revolution!
Solution. There is only one solution. Communist revolution.
Communist revolution.
There is only one solution.
There is only one solution. Communist revolution.
I wonder what organization this is.
Communism is gonna win, baby. After liberation. Down, down for their occupation. Down, down their occupation. Down, their occupation. Down, down their occupation. Hands off the Middle.
Sorry, this always makes me this always makes me tear up a little bit because it makes me remember the Palestine protests when like after October 7th and just the feeling of community and being there with like-minded individuals who want to, change the world for good. It's one of the best feelings you'll ever have in your life. I encourage people to go out there and do it.
From the belly of the beast! From the belly of the beast! Hands off the Middle East! Hands off the Venezuela! Hands off Venezuela! Hands off Cuba! Hands off the Middle East!
So I'm also just so happy that liberals are finally getting over their Red Scare shit. Like, it's about fucking time, man. Like, it's about fucking time. The Cold War was so long ago. And like they need to understand that the communists and the socialists, even if you're out there and you're listening to me, even if you're a liberal, the communists and the socialists, you don't have to agree or even want socialism or communism to be enacted in America to understand that these people are going to help improve the material conditions of the working class. They are going to help improve the country for the better if you allow them to attain some power, right? If they are able to have some sort of representation in government, they are going to help improve your life and your neighbor's life and anybody who is just a working class individual's life, whether you want to seize the means of production or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, so get on board with it now, liberals. You're a little bit late to the Communist Party, but you know it's a party that's going to be going on forever, I think. So you know, we're glad to have you now. I already saw this sort of clip of Hassan's interview with CNN. I don't really want to watch it again. Uh-oh, Mr. Beast. We watched a video the other day, people. Like a Marxist analysis of Mr. Beast, and it wasn't pretty. So I'm seeing a little bit of that critique just right here in this image right now. Also, $1 bills, Mr. Beast, come on. Can't you get some 20s in there? I thought you were rich, dude. Let's see. Let's see what this guy had to say. Or this is just a quote. I'm a megaphone, right? Hassan the Hun tells me. There are lots of Barbs and Debras out there in Minneapolis, for example, that have never encountered me, and yet they share that frustration with the failures of establishment liberalism all the same. Correct. And the current AstroTurf Hassan freakout is precisely because Demolis know that they can no longer control the base. Yeah, they definitely can't. Whoa. Emma is all glammed up for CNN. I guess they make you if you're going on CNN. Or maybe they don't. I don't know. Maybe they let you come in if you don't want to be all made up for it. I bet they would let you. Okay, Democratic Senators Cory Booker, Ruben Gallego, and Alyssa Slotkin all told Politico they wouldn't go on Hassan Piker's show, essentially dooming themselves to irrelevance and, no future relevance in the party. But they have all been on Bill Maher's show, who says Islam is like the mafia. The Muslim world has too much in common with ISIS. Muslims bring desert stuff to the West. Yikes. Uh, and has also used the N-word on his show. Yeah, he's a reactionary. Why the double standard? Slotkin was on Maher's show yesterday. Yeah, because they're aligned with the right. Of course they are. He's just Bill Maher is just a Republican. Like he's just a right-wing hack. He's gonna pretend that he's not, but for branding purposes. But that's what he is, and they are fundamentally aligned with the right much more than they are with the left. Okay, let's see about this one.
That's fair, but also.
Oh, this is the guy from the deprogram. I like the deprogram a lot. I want to listen to some of it in another educational stream because they're very scripted, I think, for their main portion of the show. So I think it's like more. I don't. It's also too long for like a normal everyday stream, I think. But yeah, let's see what they're talking about here.
Like, especially when it comes to European, Central, Eastern, Western, whatever the fuck, or even like you opening and browsing and seeing an Indonesian that's gonna like sell everything that he has in order to enter Agartha or some shit. I think it has a lot to do with American culture generally being so dominant, and in the quote-unquote age of decay of empire, not to sound too LARPy, the main cultural export is no longer only, like very decent music, good food, fashion, and so on, but it's also arguably the most present politically cultural wave that we see, span through every single large content creator, especially coming to us from the United States. So when we are inspired on what is cool, aka what is normal, aka what is edgy, or in this case, what is patriotism. Because we live in an American world, these local nationalists, no matter how much they hit themselves in the chest, ooga booga style, and go like, Poland first or Germany first or France first, they're always innately America first because they are, you know how the Chinese do, I don't know, socialism with Chinese characteristics. Well, they're doing nationalism with American characteristics. They are importing it, copy paste the way it exists in America. So that's why you see so many of them in Asmongold's chat, or why you see so many of them like complain. Like, I've talked plenty with Polish dudes that have never seen a black person in their life just insert themselves in a conversation and bring up how, BLM is ruining the world. And you're like, what the
Yeah, it's also, I think, a lot of them are, I think a lot of them think that, like, American fascists are on some, like, journey towards global fascism, which I don't think they are. I think American fascists don't really care about, like, the project of global fascism. And so, like, a lot of these right-wingers, they think that if they co-opt the MAGA, like, ideology or whatever, that somehow America is going to then come and lead and, like, start leading the global fascist movement, and, like, they can all just hop on board or whatever. And I just don't necessarily think that's the goal of American fascism. I really got to pee, so I'm going to try and find something funny, and then we're going to get out of here. That's too long. Iranian trolling.
Hey, Taram, you are fired.
Straight party. Oh, he's trying to get back into the straight party. Oh. Sorry, I can't listen to that, but oh no, they're all smoking cigars. Well, yeah, I'm sorry, Aragchi, Vladimir. They got Kim Jong-un. I think I saw Xi in there.
Fire.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, you just can't get into the straight party. Straights only, Donald Trump. Queer icon, Donald Trump, get out of here. This is a straights only party. Just kidding. Let's see what else we got. This is a 43-second clip.
And Trump acquiesced on that and agreed with him.
Oh, wait, where'd it go?
So this is a guy that celebrates war crimes, that celebrates loosening the rules of engagement, and is responsible for bombing and double tapping, I will repeat, a girls' school where over 100 girls in Iran were killed. And then we talk about how, they just hate us for our freedom. No, they hate us because we bomb girls' schools.
Well, actually, before that incident happened, which I think was horrible, and we made a mistake, and there should be accountability there.
Double tap.
The country. They were yelling death to America in Iran long before we did that. So they hated us.
Because we overthrew their government.
Back to the Iran thing, they hated us long before that. The second.
Yeah, because we overthrew the shot. It's very easy. Man. Okay, sorry, this is a little thing. She does a good job explaining it, and that was a good interjection, but she should have been a little bit more louder and assertive, I would say.
The point that I would make is it's
country, and
but it might not be that type of show. It might be a more calm show or whatever. Ooh, hell yeah. Break it down. Love it. Love it. Keep it up, people. What do I always say? Property crime isn't real crime. Am I right, everybody? If it's for a good cause, property crime isn't real crime, okay? If you do want to know my real thoughts, is that if it's for a good cause, property crime isn't real crime, okay? Let's see here. Oh, well, power to the people. He's going back and forth. He's going back and forth. This is kind of what I talked about, but it seems like Power to the People is going back and forth about whether No Kings is good or not. Who is this? This is the strongest, most valuable digital media flank of the Dem coalition right now, and the only one regaining the trust of young and disillusioned voters. Centrists and Zionists can fight it as hard, centrists and Zionists can fight it as hard as they want, just like they did Zoran, but the reality isn't changing. Yeah. Hassan always says he is just a vessel. He is he is an expression of the will of the people. He is not leading. Yeah, to an extent, there's back and forth here where he is in a sense leading, but then he's also representative. But in general, the movement is way bigger than any one individual, and nothing they can do can stop it. What's this one? She's out there, dude. Erica Kirk, she's going crazy. I assume this is an AI video, but I'll need confirmation, everybody. You know me, I love to just believe stuff for fun. Like, even though it's like not true, I like to just I believe it just for fun. Oh no, I probably did I not have it all the way on the string here. Okay. You guys can watch it then. And she does some like there you go. That was fun. Okay, sorry, I need to find something really funny though. Or something at least somewhat funny. Juice for Corey. Good for them. I don't know what that is. Hey, where's something funny? Something funny. Or something fun at least. Where's something fun, everybody? Yeah, I guess that's true too. I mean, that's kind of funny. See, that's what I'm saying. I'm between these two because I am terminally online, I guess, because I stream, even though I'm really not that online, to be honest. Like I go outside a lot, but but then yeah, the boomer grandma to my right wants firing squads for 8 ice agents. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, my tax dollars. This is a new image reportedly showing the USAF E-3 Sentry destroyed in an Iranian attack at Prince Sultan Air Base on Friday. This is what it looks like, people. They said it was damaged, by the way. This doesn't look damaged to me. It looks obliterated. That's housing, education, healthcare money on fire, by the way. Yeah, that's my tax dollars. Give me back my tax dollars. My cat is getting some tests done for her breast cancer in a couple weeks. I'm sure it's going to cost like $1,000. So I need that money. Please, Donald Trump, where's my tariff refund? Okay, guys. Maybe this will work. I always take these with a grain of salt, okay? About the description of who is who or whatever, what their belief systems are. I haven't seen the whole thing, so I'm just going to assume that what he's saying is true on here. And if what he's saying is true, we got some hog on hog violence. They always talk about black on black violence, how bad how out of control that is. Well, here we got some hog on hog violence. And you know what the best thing about hog on hog violence is? It's a win-win for me. So whoever wins, I win. So let's go ahead and watch this. This is going to be probably the last video before I have to get out of here. So let's go. Oof.
Hey, stay back, stay back. Hey, stay back.
Get the fuck off Oh no!
Oh, okay. I'm gonna be honest. So she's okay. So if she is hurling racial slurs, whatever. That's bad. But this is like way too much force. Like it was way too much force, buddy. Um, I'm gonna be honest. I'm kind of on MAGA Karen's side in this one.
You fucking better believe it, you cunt!
In general, though, I will probably almost always be on. Even if they are vitriolic and racist or whatever, I will usually be more on their side than the cop in general. Just because there's potential that they are a working class person or a poor person, so yeah.
I will fuck you up, you cunt, you mother.
Okay, this wasn't as fun as I wanted it to be. I actually felt kind of bad for her, so I was hoping it wouldn't be that crazy, but okay, I need to find something more fun. Man, okay, I gotta find it fast though, because I gotta get out of here in like 13 minutes. Okay, what do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Okay. You know what? Okay, that's gonna have to count. That's gonna have to count. Sorry guys, I really gotta get going. So this has to count. This is gonna be our fun one to end it. We're gonna watch a short clip of someone in a nice Trump outfit playing with his little toys, his little $100 million toys that he is flying over the Middle East right now. So here, let's watch this. This is gonna be the last one, everybody. Okay? That's a good costume. Okay, I like it. I like it. Okay, everybody, that is it. The stream is winding down. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for watching the VOD. If you are out there watching the VOD, I'll put some clips up from this tomorrow. I put out some educational content yesterday. If you want to become more educated on things like history and politics and modern political affairs, instead of just watch me, scream at unhinged freaks at CPAC or whatever. So if you want to check that out, go ahead. There should be some clips on my YouTube channel. And yeah, I guess that's about it. I gotta go canvas for Cori Bush. So this has been Technically Clay, and the stream is technically over. Bye-bye.